Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 753 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to talk about the exciting topic of transfer speeds. I've been getting lots of complaints that transferring files and charging devices and stuff like that takes forever. And also upload and download speeds on your computer take forever, or they're slow as molasses. So this episode will teach you how to get the fastest speeds possible. Plus, I got a super big warning for you to stay safe from being hacked. All right, hope you didn't miss episode 752. That was money from media. This is a good side hustle that could turn into a full-time income for some of you. So also, I'll throw in episode 751. I know you've been interested in this Memorial Day weekend and travel and stuff, so maybe you missed some of these things. 751 was on travel vlogging, and I don't really want anything to do with this. I'm happy to stay home, but a lot of people love to travel, and this is how you can turn it into money. So make sure you catch those back episodes at screwthecommute.com/ and then the episode number will get you to those back episodes. 751 was travel vlogging and 752 was money from media. Now, before we get into the main topic, let's shout out to Coach Ruscelli. She's a real doer. A couple episodes ago, I gave a challenge to go to my training episodes, which are screwthecommute.com/training. I think there's over 400 of them, and do something, implement something. So here she gave me an update on what she did. She looked at episode 735. That was creating logical training methods, and she started creating training on what is logical to do first, second, third, and fourth. So good for her. Then she went to episode 737. And this was search tips. This was how you can use Google and the search engines more effectively to find what you're looking for, with just some little tiny tips in how you search for things. So that was 737. So she did that, and she's adding a bunch of people to her database that she couldn't find before because she didn't search properly. And then episode 740 talked about risk management. It was actually called Think Like a Bird, because my drone got attacked by a bird. Right. So that was about risk management and how she is implementing to make multiple streams of income to make sure she's, anytime she needs money, she's got stuff coming in. So good for her. That's Coach with Ruscelli. Ruscelli, I think how you say it. Okay. Make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And then also follow me on TikTok at Digital Multimillionaire. All right, let's get to the main event. I know this isn't a tech podcast. I mean, you'd be in deep trouble if you depended on me for all your technology. All right, I got to tell you that. But I am tired of hearing you all complain about transfer and charging times and poor quality Wi-Fi speeds and stuff like that. See, the faster, and the reason I put it on an episode like this or a podcast like this is because the faster you can get rid of this mundane stuff that has to be done, the more time you have to make money, to make products, and to take care of customers and do all the stuff that actually brings money in. So that's why I put it on here. So let's go over some basics that could fix some of your problems instantly. First of all, let's talk about USB. Now, pretty much everybody knows and thinks a USB port is rectangular, because that's the way it started out. And many are still that rectangular shape in the side of your computer, front, back, wherever. And the one that, this is the port that you have to figure out which side of the cable is up and down. And after a couple tries, you can stick it in there, right? Well, here's a quick tip. Usually if there's a little logo on the cable, that end goes up, usually. All right, now, even though the port is rectangular, as technology improved, they came out with USB 2.0, and now many of you have both USB 2 and 3 on your computer, or just USB 3. Just plugging into a USB 3 instead of a USB 2 makes your data transfer. Let's say you were backing up to a portable hard drive or something, 10 times faster. And they even have USB 3.2. I think that's what's on my computer. And now USB 4 version 2 is in the works. So each iteration of that is faster and faster and faster. So how do you tell if you have USB 3 and what does it look like? Well, remember, it's still a rectangular. So all those rectangular USB, they're called type A ports, look alike, except for many times the little plastic piece inside for USB 3 is blue. If it's not, there's usually a little tiny logo like molded into the plastic on the side of your computer, or a little sticker or something and it starts with SS. I don't know if that stands for super speed or whatever, but it's SS. And you can also, to find out, you can look up the specs for your computer model and it'll tell you, and it'll usually give you a graphic of which port is a 2.0 and which is a 3 point something. See, that one little switch from using USB 2 to USB 3 could make whatever you're doing, like backing up stuff to a portable hard drive or to the cloud, 10 times faster. Okay, simple thing. Just figure out what your port is, your USB port. All right, so that's the first thing you can try. Now, the next thing you can look for is a USB-C port, the letter C. These ports and cables don't force you to put them in a certain way. Up or down doesn't matter with USB-C. Believe it or not, they did studies. The biggest complaint about USB-A, or the rectangular connector, was the hassle of putting it in the right way. People get really frustrated over that. Now, another thing, the ports using USB-C can support 240 watts of charging power when if you're charging it, like I was charging up my drone controller with USB 3.2. And then I switched to USB-C, and the charging went way faster to charge up stuff like batteries and this and that. You're seeing more and more USB-C ports appearing in all kinds of things, like flashlights to drones to light up dog collars to stun guns, everywhere. So keep an eye out for that and learn how to use it. Again, it doesn't matter which way you put it in. And you can also just Google USB-C port and go to images, and it'll show you what it looks like. So bottom line here, folks, is that transferring data and charging stuff can be much faster just by using the appropriate ports on your computer. All right, and another thing I think is unique to USB-C is that it's bi-directional. In other words, whichever device has the most battery power, you can charge the other one. So, for instance, if my drone controller is fully charged and my cell phone is about to die, I can take some of the charge from my drone controller and charge up the cell phone. And of course, you got to have the right cables and adapters and stuff, but if you have those ready, you're never stuck because something has always got some charge that can lend to another. And I'm not any kind of, it's like I said, super techie that can explain the technology here. I'm just saying you can use this to your benefit. Now, here's a big warning, big warning. And this is directly from the FBI in Colorado. So in April, this came out just April of this year, from Denver, Colorado office of the FBI. They tweeted out a warning about using public USB ports. And there's actually a name for this kind of cyber theft where you get hacked. It's called juice jacking. So this is a direct quote from them. Avoid using free charging stations in airports, hotels, or shopping centers. Bad actors have figured out ways to use public USB ports to introduce malware and monitoring software onto devices. So carry your own charger and USB cord and use an electrical outlet instead. That's a direct quote from the FBI in Denver. So you heard it here first, all right? Unless you monitor FBI Denver, I guess. So So anyway, use the proper ports and charging devices and you'll go much faster so you can spend that time making money. All right, now the next thing is check your internet connection. You can do a speed test at places like speedtest.net. And you may find at different times of the day, your connection is screaming fast and sometimes it's super slow. So cable is notorious for this. If you're on some type of cable system, in that the more people that are on it, the slower it goes. And when less people are on it, it's screamingly fast. So you need to, what I tell my students is to use a log and do it 5 or 6 times during the day and write down the speeds and what time of day it is and what day of the week. Maybe Fridays are different than Mondays. Maybe the weekends are different. So do that for a week and you'll be able to check your download and upload speeds, and you might see a trend that, oh man, if I'm stuck with this certain cable system, maybe I shouldn't try to upload stuff on Friday nights when everybody's on. Or maybe it's better to do it in the middle of the day so not as many people are on at home. But during the pandemic, loads of people were home all day. So you need to know what's going on in your neighborhood, and so do a log like that and see what your speeds are. If you aren't happy with the Wi-Fi speeds you're getting, you could consider buying a cable that goes from your router right into your computer. This is called hardwiring, and it will always be faster than the Wi-Fi you get from your router. That doesn't mean somebody else's router isn't faster than your hardwire. All right? It just means that for your situation, you can buy a long cable and just plug it in, and your speeds will be way faster than depending on Wi-Fi. Currently, you would want to get to buy a cable called a Cat 5e or a Cat 6. These are fast cables. You don't want to get Cat 5 by itself anymore because that's a slower, older technology. So Cat 5e and Cat 6. And I suggest buying them online because trying to buy a really long one locally could be very expensive compared to buying it online. I mean, and even with other stuff like a printer, I have a 16-foot USB printer cable because of all the trouble with wireless printers. When I want to print, I just plug it in and it works every single time. Before that, I'd have to have the tech guys set up the printer for wireless, and the minute they stepped outside the door, it would quit working. All right. I think every printer ever made lies about how easy it is when you look at the box. Oh man, this is easy wireless setup. Yeah, BS. So I have a 16-foot printer cable, always works. And I save all that time and effort and money for having the guys come over and fix it. Forget it. Just buy a printer cable. Now, if you're still not happy with the speed you're getting, or you need more consistent speed on your internet throughout the day, you could switch to Fios, which is fiber optics. And you should be able to get faster speeds. It should be pretty much the same anytime, day or night. But you got to check to see if it's even available in your location. That's the problem with that. Now, those of you in rural areas, well, currently you're kind of SOL or out of luck, other than the hardwire technique. That might help you out. Until they come up with nationwide high-speed internet, you got to put up with a bunch of shady companies that give lousy service with pitiful results. Now, I think Elon Musk has jumped into this, but I haven't tried it out and haven't heard anything good or bad about it. Now, I put some links in the show notes that further explain the different USB ports, and one is even called Thunderbolt. But at any rate, don't complain about your speeds and transfer times until you fix up some of this simple stuff. All right, so if you want help with this and like the 1,000 other things it takes to be successful online, check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. It's the longest running, most unique, most successful ever in the field of internet and digital marketing. And also check out my brand new program. Of course, the mentees get this for free, but check out my brand new program on how to be a great podcast guest. You can be in front of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people with warm introductions But it's not just being glib. I know a lot of you pro speakers out there think, well, I'm cool. I can really do a great interview. Well, it's way more than that to impress podcast hosts of what you do before and after the interview. That is what gets you invited back a million times. All right. Like I've been invited back 13 times to one show and invited back on shows that never have the same guest more than once and stuff like that. Some of the top shows in the world. All right, so check that out at screwthecommute.com/great podcast guest, and I will catch you on the next episode. See you later.